We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hey, what's up, you guys, and welcome to a brand new episode of Conspiracy Theories. And today, we are going to be talking about the 9/11 conspiracy. In 6th grade, I did a poster board on this particular topic and got a B+. So I would listen up if I were you. The terrorist attack that occurred on September 11th, 2001 was a horrible event. But was it planned? The theory is that the collapse of the Twin Towers was a result of a controlled demolition rather than structural failure due to impact and fire. Another belief is that the Pentagon was hit by a missile launched by elements from inside the US government, or that a command airliner was allowed to do so via an effective stand-down of the American military. Possible motives claimed by conspiracy theorists for such actions include justifying the invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq, even though the US government concluded that Iraq was not involved in the attacks. They hinted it everywhere, before it even happened, in movies, television, and more. Here's some. And the biggest one of them all is this one. If you fold a 5, 10, 20, 50, or $100 bill in a certain way, you get this. All the bills together show the progression of the Twin Towers. The $5 bill shows the towers being built. The $10 bill shows the North Tower being hit. The $20 bill shows the South Tower being hit. The $50 bill shows the towers collapsing. The other $50 bill shows the empty sky, where the towers were. And the $100 bill shows a water fountain, meaning the memorial. That can't be a coincidence. Here is also a clip from our president talking about this topic before he became president.
Donald, you're probably the best known builder, particularly of great buildings in the city. There's a great deal of question about whether or not the damage and the ultimate destruction of the buildings was caused by the airplanes, by architectural defect, or possibly by bombs or aftershocks. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, it was an architectural defect. You know, the World Trade Center was always known as a very, very strong building. Don't forget, that took a big bomb in the basement. Now, the basement is the most vulnerable place because that's your foundation. And it withstood that. And I got to see that area about 3 or 4 days after it took place because one of my structural engineers actually took me for a tour because he did the building. And I said, I can't believe it. The building was standing solid, and half of the columns were blown out. I mean, so this was an unbelievably powerful building. If you know anything about structure, it was one of the first buildings that was built from the outside. The steel, the reason the World Trade Center had such narrow windows is that in between all the windows, you had the steel on the outside. So you had the steel on the outside of the building. That's why when I first looked, and you had big, heavy I-beams, when I first looked at it, I couldn't believe it because there was a hole in the steel. And this is steel that was, you remember the width of the windows in the World Trade Center, folks. I think you know, if you were ever up there, they were quite narrow. And in between was this heavy steel. I said, how could a plane, even a 767 or 747, or whatever it might have been, how could it possibly go through the steel? I happen to think that they had not only a plane, but they had bombs that exploded almost simultaneously, because I just can't imagine anything being able to go through that wall. Most buildings are built with the steel is on the inside around the elevator shaft. This one was built from the outside, which is the strongest structure you can have, and it was almost just like a can of soup.
You know, Donald, we were looking at pictures all morning long of that plane coming into building number 2, and when you see that approach the far side, and then all of a sudden, within a matter of a millisecond, the explosion pops out the other side.
Right. I just think that it was a plane with more than just fuel. I think, obviously, they were very big planes. They were going very rapidly because I was also watching where the plane seemed to be not only going fast, it seemed to be coming down into the building. So it was getting the speed from going downhill, so to speak. It just seemed to me that to do that kind of destruction is even more than a big plane, because you're talking about taking out steel, the heaviest caliber steel that was used on a building. I mean, these buildings were rock solid, and you know, it's just an amazing thing. This country is different today, and it's going to be different than it ever was for many years to come.
See, even he thought something wasn't right. Pretty much what he said, to a certain extent, I said in my 6th grade project. So, what do you think? Well, there you go, guys. There's my theory, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and also follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. I tweet all the time, and I follow everybody back who follows me. I'm Austin Taylor, and thank you guys for watching another episode of Conspiracy Theories.